All right, and welcome back to episode 103 of the OK podcast powered by the Strength Co. I am your host, Grant Broggi, and we are recording live from South California. I'm in South California. If you're still confused about that, that's where I currently am. I have a gym here in South California that you can come visit. You can coach with me online. I got a new 6-week course starting on April 13th, Monday, Wednesday, Friday at 3 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. I'll let you do the back math to what that is Zulu. But we will do a time hack on the 12th. I'll get the daggers out and we will figure out the time hack. But this podcast is powered to you by the Strength Co., brought to you by BW Tax and Green Gridiron Green. The price of Bitcoin is $67,608.13. Today's date is March the 31st. Goodbye, March. Tomorrow is April Fool's in the year of our Lord, 2026. With all the turmoil in the world, people wearing clothes that were designed for other people, pretending to be someone that they're not. People requesting for more. Yeah, people requesting for more bombs in places. The young airman, airwoman. I'm not sure. But anyway, with all that's going on in the world, you can count on Bitcoin holding strong. Gas prices are soaring. And Bitcoin's just hodling. It's over $6 a gallon here in the South California region. Thanks, Obama. For those gas prices. For real. Lot happening. Sports, Gamecock, female types, Elite Eight again. So they're headed. They came, they ate, and they conquered. No, they're going to the 4 now. Final 4, taking on UConn next week. I'm joined in studio by fellow Killer B, not in a drilling status, Mr. Jeff Buege, Biggie for you rapper types. Currently not in a drilling status, right? You're not appropriated duty orders or anything, right?
Nope.
So we can say whatever we want.
Anything.
And we don't know. We do know where Trey is. Jeff, why don't you tell him where Trey is?
Well, Trey's in Odessa.
Odessa? Why the hell would anybody go there? A little Cormac McCarthy throwback. Probably one of the few pop culture references I'll get tonight. Odessa. But Jeff is from the greater Salt Lake City area of Utah. Currently not a Mormon. How's that Utah hockey club doing?
They're doing okay. I don't know what their current.
Are you going to make the playoffs?
I can pull. They were like kind of on the bubble. Let me see.
Bubble team.
I should know.
Like a Hail Mary team. Not to be confused with the Cinderella team.
Exactly.
I think per capita of hockey teams, they're not very good.
They are, sit on 82 points.
Okay.
Like Auburn. Auburn. They're in the middle of their division. Above 500 record. So they're doing okay.
They might make it. They're okay. It's funny. The Bruins beat down the Dallas Stars, which is probably why Trey's not here. No, Trey's not here because we need hoses in this country. Okay. There's a lot of things that are required in America. The Strait of Hormuz turns out to be kind of important. Obliterating stuff turns out to be important. But if there's one, everyone wants to talk about the price of gas at the pump. Okay. And I realize that the handle of the pump is on a hose, but think of all the hoses that gas travels through before it gets there. And that's brought to you by Mr. Trey Gottlich. So if he says he's got to go to Odessa for hose work for the working of hoses, for hose work, not plural, hose work, then it's probably important stuff. And we're going to let him do that. Yeah. I think I've talked enough. We got a special guest today. So if you don't like the staff brief, you're an idiot. But a special guest today coming in. I think you're going to like it. We'll get there when we get there. Man, it's just me and you today, Jeff. Me and you. It's going to be. I feel like Trey's the one that usually keeps it going. The staff brief. So
I'll do my best.
With that,
I'll do my best.
I'll turn it over to the 3.
Okay, hey, I guess we got some folks on leave, so we got some empty seats in here today. I just wanted everybody to know that is unsat, right? You got to fill in with your A/ or your chief or your Zulu, however you run it in your shop, right? We need to have representatives from all our warfighting functions because we are a warfighting organization, and by that I mean we are a trash eliminating organization. So with that, I'll kick it over to the one shop's going to kick us off talking about all things admin and personnel related.
Hey, real quick, Trash Chicks here. Thanks for everybody for being here. If you're not going to make a meeting, someone's going to be sitting in that chair. Okay, I don't care if it's Tickle Me Elmo. There's going to be someone in that chair. That's all I'm going to say about that. Go ahead, one. That's you, Trey. Oh, Trey's not here.
Trey.
Trey. Oh, crap. What do we do now? The numbers are bumping. Yeah, the numbers are bumping. We got a new G1 report card. We got all A's. And we had a board in IAPS for all the awards. No one voted. So we went ahead and just pushed those through for signature, sir.
Excellent.
And we are using recycled NAM paper. So nothing further for the group.
Excellent. Good brief. Good to hear that we're doing great on that G1 report card. Always keep track of those. Okay. S2, what do we got in the Intel world? Is there anything happening in the Intel world?
Well, sir, it seems that Lieutenant Stevenson, by the way, my predecessor, also went to ANS, so he's gone. I just checked in. I don't really know what's going on with the twos and why we all go to ANS, but I'm here now. It seems, sir, that there was a miscommunication or understanding, if you will. If you're going towards Pendleton on the 5, the I-5, the 5, as we call it here in South California, as you're going there, you'll pass like the LCAT guys, and then somewhere close to that, there's a nuclear power point 3, sir. Can you tally target?
Yep. A large pair of breasts. Yep, got it.
Yes. So it's people are now thinking that is Mr. Noam's bosom, and it's still the nuclear power plant. So we just didn't want anyone to be confused by that. Outside of that, the straight is not very straight out there, but it seems that if you want oil, just go get it. Come and take it. But I have a bunch of pucks up here of everyone that's interested in that straight, and it seems like the entire world is. So I will be monitoring the situation closely. I have 6 monitors in my office, 5 of which are vertical because it promotes efficiency. I haven't been to MOS school, but if you need anything 2-wise, come and see me.
Okay, hey, great brief. One follow-up question for you, Deuce. Do we get anybody? I saw we had some seats allocated for that laminator operators course. Did we get anybody sent and signed up for that laminator operator course?
Sir, as I said, I haven't been to MOS school. I actually don't know what a laminator is. They teach us that for 6 months, but I will get back to you. I will get back to you, sir.
Okay.
And bring something for the group.
Hey, sounds like your staff NCO has let you down there, young LT.
Yes, sir. He's at physical therapy 7 days a week, which is weird because we only work 5 days a week for his shoulder. I've actually never seen him in camis, so I don't know what his rank is. But I will cover it in my initial counseling.
Thanks, sir. Very well. Excellent. Good to go. Okay, 3 shop. We had a successful week last week of the trash collection. I think we had good turnout for our working parties. There was good collaboration there between the 3 shop and the 4 shop, right, to get the working parties going, to get them on target,
log, if you will. When the ops log is synced,
we were synced. We were driving the train. I feel like we had a lot of good inputs into the dumpster, right? And then we didn't have too many outputs out of that dumpster. So it's good that the inputs went in and the outputs weren't coming out. I got the the way forward for our road to war, our road to trash brief is coming up. We got the working group for that at 1700, right? Probably going to be an all nighter, right? So bring your energy drinks, bring your coffee. It's going to be a long one, gents. Okay, that's all I have for the 3 shop. Kicking it over to the 4 shop.
Good evening, sir, sergeants, major, commanders, staff, new lieutenants in the 2 shop that have yet to go to MOS school, and fellow trash battalioners. Good evening. I don't know if I said that or not yet. The 4 has a lot of fun things happening right now. We have new dumpsters that we're going to park behind the barracks. We don't know when they're going to arrive, but they'll be there for Marines to put trash in. We also have a lot of porta potties. We don't know where to put them, so we're just going to randomly put them throughout the training area. And it's Easter, sir. If I can make a joke, sometimes you don't know where the eggs are, so it's that kind of thing. If you're going to drop an egg or lay an egg, if you will, hopefully you find a porta potty. Phasmo's coming up in 7 years, and so we're prepping for that. We did well in the one we did 7 years ago. Nothing further for the group, gentlemen. And ma'am, I actually don't. Stuff. Sergeant Major, I just call you Sergeant Major. Okay, I'm going to stop talking.
Oh, hey, great stuff. 4. Love what you do. Appreciate you being part of the team and really making this engine run here. All right. We got any medical folks here? Dental types, medical types? Anybody?
That's you, Trey.
Anybody? Okay. Yeah, this is Chief. So we had about 4,000 immunizations that we had to throw out. I know we sent out the hit list like 10 minutes before the end of the workday, but no one showed up to get their immunizations. And so they expired the next day, but we didn't really put out any information on that until about 10 minutes before everybody was going to start, heading out for the day. So just, the medical officer is very upset about that. So just wanted to pass that along. We had to just, put all those immunizations in the dumpster, right? They turned into trash. And I know that's what we do here, but okay, that's not everything is trash. Okay, fellas, that's all I have.
I'm sorry. Was that the MO or the chaplain?
I am the new chief. I just emerged from the goat locker.
You guys been doing chief days? Hey, get some of the gunnies from the battalion down there. When I was a young lieutenant, the gunnies would just be gone all the time. They'd be doing chief days. Get some of the gunnies in there and lock yourselves up in the goat locker for 7 months and see what comes out.
Yes, sir. We'll
Esprit de corps, am I right? Hoo-yah, Senior Chief.
Hoo-yah, indeed.
Hoo-yah. Yeah, thanks, Doc. Appreciate it.
Okay, great. Pushing on. Chaps, we got Chaps checking in. Let me see.
Oh, we got Chaps on an outlying station?
I think we had a check-in from Chaps. Let me switch over my comms, or unless you've got it.
I got it.
Oh, he's got
Take it.
He got
it. Chaplain checking in. By the way, our chaplain is Chaplain Nathan Eckberg, recently on the Massonomics podcast episode, I don't know, season 2, episode 20 something.
21, maybe?
It was 23, maybe?
Maybe. Who knows?
I don't know. A lot of podcasts. Chaplain checking in. Apologies for the grammatical errors. Oh, go listen to that episode. He was good on there. He put in his resume that he is the chaplain for the OK podcast, which I appreciated. He also self-identified as a Calvinist, which I appreciated. And he also said he's never anxious, which I also appreciated. We got to get Chaps on the show. He's always asleep when we try to. Chaplain checking in. Apologies for the grammatical errors in last week's slides. That was not covered by my mom in our English lesson back in my homeschool days. This does, however, remind me of a passage from Romans. For through the grace given to me, I say to everyone among you, not to think more highly of himself than he might ought to think, but to think so as to have sound judgment, as God has allotted to each a measure of faith. For just as we have many members in one body, and all the members do not have the same function. Romans 12, 3 and 4, NASB 1995. While every Marine is a rifleman is true, the scriptures are talking about how we all have an important role to play based on our abilities and gifts from the Lord. Let's take inventory of our abilities this week, think humbly, correct our grammar, and secure trash. Nothing else for the group. Over. Chaps, that was good. We appreciate you, chaps.
Okay.
I think we got some. Oh, yeah, you got more.
I had one more outline station from our local 8999 first sergeant friend of the podcast, former guest, also known as
serious.
The Adjusting Piece, right? Sent this over via Slack. And so if you're not on the Slack, right, that's other ways you can communicate.
Get on the Slack.
All right. So this is from our first sergeant. Say, okay, warriors. This is for the 4 working parties. Boots and utes are not a fashion show. As referenced in the Marine Corps order, green undershirts will be plain. No logos, no designs, no nonsense. That's guidance, or that's not guidance. That's the standard. If that's not a plain green shirt or a trash battalion shirt, you're wrong. And Gunny, the chive has been dead for 10 years. You're not resurrecting it on my working parties. If I see one more graphic tee like we're at a freaking daggone barbecue instead of securing trash, I'm going to assume leaders have lost control and we can go validate TNR codes, securing trash in MOP level 4 until standards reappear. We secure trash. We don't look like trash. Okay?
Man, first sergeant really had his druthers.
First sergeant. Going hard on first the undershirts.
Looks like we got some special staff figuring out their team's call. Who we got on the line here?
We got Captain White here, so the JAG.
I think you outranked me. So go ahead. What you got for the group there, Captain White?
Well, I just got staff update here, sir, on good order and discipline.
Excellent.
Let it rip.
All right, sir. Office hours factories in high gear. We're racking and stacking the NJPs faster than the S3 stacks PowerPoints. The highlight of this week is, of course, trash detail. Apparently, a few Marines in the E4 Mafia think Mission Command applies to sanitation ops. They've been dumping all the work on the E3s, providing no supervision whatsoever. So we're calling that dereliction of duty, Article 92 style. We've also had one Lance criminal recently pull a trash bag cramp halfway through cleanup, but he instantly recovered the moment Liberty Call hit. We're calling that an Article 83 case study in malingering, and we're recommending that he lead future details for professional development. Just have one quick reminder to the rest of the staff, sir, and anyone else listening in on the outlying stations. If you dropped off an NJP action, separation action, or flipple to our shop in the last 5 minutes, don't tell the commander that it's with legal as though we've had it for a week. That's Blue Falcon stuff. Sir, that concludes my brief, sir. Semper Fi, stay lethal, stay lawful, and remember, the JAG sees all, devil dog.
JAG sees all. Welcome to the show,
yes,
Captain White. Can we call you Ian? It's Ian, right?
It's Colonel. I was just playing the fictional captain, but it's Ian. Yes.
Oh, fictional Colonel. Okay. Yeah. No, sorry. Army. Sorry. I'm Marine over here. I was thinking Navy captain when you said captain, and now I'm snapped back in. Colonel. Yeah. Army type. But we can call you Ian. We don't have to call you sir all night.
No, not at all, Grant.
Okay. Okay, good. So I'll give a little introduction to the folks, and then we'll get right into it. Over the years, I think I'm 9 years into owning my gym here in South California, and I've done YouTube videos even before that, and then more as time goes on. You interact with a bunch of people, and then you start selling product. And when you sell product, you have customer service, and very rarely do you get like a nice email. Usually you get like a, hey, I ordered 8 45s, only 7 showed up. What's going on? And it's like, well, you ordered them 22 hours ago. We happened to ship them real fast, and one of them probably fell off a conveyor belt, but it's usually someone disgruntled or upset. But I'm logging into my dot mill. back in New Jersey. I guess my buddy was. I get an email from Colonel White here, and he's just like, "Hey, been following your YouTube stuff, been running strength training, doing starting strength. I did really well on my APFT, which we want to talk to you about. Thanks for what you do. I spread stuff around and I appreciate it. I shot it back. He must have been in a drilling status too, because he fired me one back. And I said, I got a podcast, and he wrote me back, okay. And I said, okay, we got to get you on then if you're aware. And so that's how we are today. And I'll give a brief synopsis, and then we'll get in from Orange County, Villa Park High School, college baseball player, right?
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Yep. And Whittier College, which for those that don't know, you go, Ian, you can probably correct me, but you have like Orange County, then you go north, you go LBC. Whittier is LA County, right?
It's LA County, really like right on the border with Orange County and like La Habra area, right over there.
Yeah. Okay. It's kind of a weird thing. I remember during COVID doing like deliveries over there, and it's like you'd cross a street and everything would be closed. You'd cross back and everything would be open, because it was like LA County, Orange County, La Habra, but played college baseball, commission. He's a JAG officer, if you didn't pick that up from his staff brief. Iraq tour. I'm going to leave a bunch of stuff out, not intentionally. And then transferred to the reserves in 2012. Is that right?
That's correct. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Yeah. So 14 years later, still serving in the great state of Arizona, which made the time zone tough for us. But welcome to the show. We're happy to have you on. I guess I got to go first, and Jeff will be able to talk on this a little bit, but probably mostly me, and then we'll get into stuff everyone can talk about. But Villa Park. So like you grew up, do you know where the Ralph's is in Villa Park?
Of course. Everybody does. It's the only grocery store.
I mean, that's that's the hub. So I had a gym right in that complex.
Okay.
So you have the Ralph's is the hub, and then you have like the Post restaurant on the other side. Mm-hmm. And then do you know where that Bagel Me is?
Oh yeah, I go back way before it was even Bagel Me. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I was 2 doors down from Bagel Me on that side. And COVID 2020 made it difficult, and we ended up consolidating the gyms into one and have left it like that. But I was in Villa Park for like 3 years, late 18. I think I signed the lease, all of 19, all of 20. I think I left in early 22. I met my wife there. There's a hair salon next to the gym I had. And that's where I met her. So Villa Park, there's an element of me that's like, man, I opened a business there. It didn't work out. But then there's a greater element of me of like, well, if I never opened that business, I probably wouldn't have my wife. So it seemed pretty great.
True story.
What's the Villa Park High School mascot?
We are the Spartans.
Solid one.
Okay. I tried hard to get them in to the gym. I went and met with the football coach, and we've had a couple baseball players that came over the years, but I really like in my mind, I pictured like the whole O-line team in there, squatting and deadlifting, but didn't quite work out.
That's unfortunate. We could have used that back in the day.
Oh yeah. You ever go back? Like, do you get back to Orange County at all?
I do, of course. Yeah, my sister lives there. My mom lives there. They moved out of Villa Park a number of years ago, and then my brother-in-law lives right across the street on the border of Orange and Villa Park, right near the shopping center. So.
Okay. Oh, okay, nice. So you're back a good bit then. So Army officer, always wanted to do it. Picked it up in college, or how'd you kind of, in your own words, not my terrible summation of your career, how'd you kind of end up where you're at?
Well, I guess I took the long way around, because as I was mentioning to you, Grant, I did devil pups, and I was mostly around the Marine Corps early on in my life. We had two, before they were BRACs, Marine Corps bases, air bases in Tustin and El Toro. I did my prom at El Toro. I did my training at Tustin. I thought I'd come in the Marine Corps route, and it didn't really materialize because Whittier didn't have an ROTC program. So I kind of thought some of that passed me by. And then when I went off to law school in DC, 9/11 happened, just a short way down. I live near the Pentagon, and that just totally changed the trajectory of my career.
Yeah, no, it's kind of interesting. We're a bit younger than you. I was in high school when that happened, and it's interesting to see the shift. Where Jeff and I came in together, so we're in like year 14 now. And when you came in, it was like everyone. You come in and we signed up in 2011, and you commission in early 12, and it's like everyone is like a Marine because of 9/11. Like, and I say Marine, but, this applies to the services, but everyone was. Whereas now it's completely different. But it's kind of interesting when something as catastrophic as that happens. I don't want to say the caliber, like it's gone different, but the recruitment becomes different, right? So I think in peacetime, you're just constantly recruiting and getting who you can get. And then when a wartime or when that happened, I mean, I don't know if this is your case, but it's, folks, I mean, I remember having sergeants that had, full on careers going, and they just were like, oh, we just got attacked. I'm going to drop everything and go join the service. And so it was kind of a different reason, I feel like, for that generation after 2001 to sign up. So when did you commission? 03 then, or 02?
I commissioned at the end of 03, and then I went off to my version of basic training in January of 04.
Okay. Where was that? That's not South Carolina, is it?
No, it was so different back then in the JAG Corps because we did sort of just a very watered down basic training, JAG officer basic training. That was at Fort Lee, Virginia for about a month. And then we went off to Charlottesville, Virginia at the JAG school for about 10 weeks.
Okay. And then what was your first assignment?
My first assignment, I went back to California at the National Training Center at Fort Irwin, California, about 30 miles, northish of Barstow, California.
Yeah, that's not much to do out there. I did a NTC rotation. I remember getting out there and like, oh wow, there's people that are getting stationed out here. That is a special place.
It is, yeah. All you pretty much do, is go to Vegas or you make babies. That's pretty much all that happens. We're getting ready to deploy. So,
yeah. Which did you do, or all three?
I made babies. Yeah, I had my first child was born there on base. So he can say, as he was driving with his college buddies past Vegas about a week ago, and I said, well, make sure you tell him you were born right over here. So out in the middle of nowhere. But yeah.
Yeah. Okay. And so, my little brother's a captain, Marine type, JAG officer. He did his first assignment at Cherry Point, North Carolina. And he did, prosecution side and then defense side, maybe in the opposite order. Of anything, could be ADCEPs or, you name it. You came in the thick of it. Iraq was hot and heavy. What did they have you do right away? Like, were you doing kind of the more, I don't want to call it administrative, but like, were you in an operational command, or was it like, hey, I'm dealing DUI cases, or?
There's a little bit of everything, in the JAG Corps, in the Army JAG Corps, and I think the same is true in the Navy and most likely the Air Force a little bit, but they start you out in what we call legal assistance, which is basically just legal aid, if you will, for service members, where you're doing a variety of things. You're doing estate planning, so you're doing the wills and trusts, you're doing family law, I ran a tax center while I was there. So a lot of civil law that's geared towards helping soldiers. I did real well in that assignment. They made me a chief of that section pretty early on. And then from there, your goal is, and what I achieved was to be a trial counsel. And so that's to be a prosecutor and a command side legal advisor. So I got to do that for about a year. Had a little detour because I got hit with some stage 3 cancer, which sidelined me for a little bit.
Oh, man.
Yeah, it was a big deal. And we got through that. And we got through that. That was tough. But we bounced back. And so I finished off doing some administrative law. And by that time, it was time to transfer. So about a little under 3 years there.
Okay. And then I saw you went to Iraq in 2011?
I did. Yeah, I was non-deployable for a number of years. So, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what was that like? And I have some. Jeff went after me to Afghan. Well, you went to Iraq too, right, Jeff? Mm-hmm. Yeah, Jeff did the special purpose MAGTF.
Yeah, ended 2017 to start of 2018.
Yeah. So I have some thoughts on JAGs in 2014. We were under General McChrystal and Obama. We were trying to end everything. And but 2011, what was like? Were you like, who were you with? What were you doing?
So 2011 is kind of now in the latter half of my captain career, and I ended up getting promoted in theater to major. But I was a brigade judge advocate for a unit that's actually no longer around, or it's no longer it's no longer the same. It was the 4th Sustainment Brigade. They're now the 1st Cavalry Sustainment Brigade, but at the time we were the 4th Sustainment Brigade, and it was our job to draw down operations in 2011 in Iraq. And we had the security agreement with Iraq was still in place when we went, but it was tenuous. And so we kind of spent most of that year, doing our mission, but being prepared to go either way, to stay in theater, the full 12 or 15 months, or to rip out, in December of 2011, which is what we ended up doing. But we helped collapse theater all the way from the north. We were down in the south. And so, but we were a logistics brigade, providing command and control over those types of operations, closing down theater.
And so were you doing JAG stuff for that deployment, or was it like an augment assignment or something? I mean, were you advising on legal matters, or how did that work?
I was, yeah. So I was running the brigade legal office, and I was a brigade staff officer. So that was really my first true experience as an embedded advisor who was dedicated to the brigade commander and the staff. So sat on staff meetings. That's where I really cut my teeth as a staff officer, really prepared me for the rest of my career, and also prepared me later on, in my most recent assignment before the one I'm in now, to be a commander. But just phenomenal assignment, just an incredible experience. But I led a team of 2 other attorneys and about 10 paralegals in that shop.
Okay. Jeff, you got any questions on that?
Was that like then like a lot of like contracting work? I guess I had a buddy that he was a logistics officer and did like similar sort of like stuff in Afghanistan when we were like closing a bunch of like kind of the combat outposts and stuff like that, and like turning the areas back over to the Afghans in that case. Was there like working out like contracts like with the Iraqis, or like what was that work like mostly on like the legal side? Like
it was literally everything. So yeah, we would turn it over to the Iraqis. Yeah. It's called the FEP program, to turn it over to them by the very end. So they just take over, which is, when I look on Google Maps, they own it now. You can tell on my base down at Cobb Adder in Talil, Iraq. But we were known, if you guys knew that area, we were known for having the ziggurat that Abraham, I guess, it had been at. So it goes very, very historic location. But anyways, my job was just a variety of tasks. I was the primary legal advisor to the brigade commander, but we were doing everything from military justice to lots of administrative investigations and just a whole bunch of legal issues, of which sort of contracts was a little bit of it, because you're not trying to do a lot of contracts there at the end because you're trying to get out of there. So,
oh yeah, true.
Yeah.
Was there a lot of like, hey, we're shutting this thing down, and like that pallet of, I don't know, something like important goes missing, and it's like, someone thought we weren't gonna like count everything, and oh yeah, we actually did, and turns out, yeah, this guy tried to stow it away in a quad-con or something.
Well, if they did, I didn't know about it. It's a funny story, because when we went in there, not exactly knowing what our future was going to look like, we go in there and it's all USO shows, and there's like multiple DFACs on post. But by the end, like after Thanksgiving, when we told the contractors, hey, look, this is it. We are going dark after this. No meals for you guys anymore. All the contractors left, and it was just us. And we were down to like hot rats for a little bit, and then we were down to MREs for like the last several weeks. And I'm very proud of saying that last time we actually did the last court martial in Iraq, our unit ran that out of a brigade conference room. I was very proud of that at the time, but we turned the lights off.
As you should be.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, no, as you should be. Yeah. Cool. So I want to get into your lifting and stuff, and then we'll probably, Jeff and I will both be interested in your time in the reserves. But so you transitioned to reserves in 2012. I'm curious, like, did 2011 like check the box? Hey, I've kind of maybe did what I signed up to do. I've deployed, to a combat area, and I'm back now, and now I'm going to transition. Or what was the kind of catalyst? And I'm going to let you like run with this a little bit. And also, when Jeff and I were lieutenants, we did 2 tours and then transitioned. So about 8 years each. Jeff a little longer than I. And when I was a lieutenant and guys were getting out, there was no one telling you like, hey, there's like an option to continue your service in the Select Marine Corps Reserve, right? No one was saying that. It was, oh, you're a nice kid from Georgia. You did 4 years and deployed. We got some use out of you. Like, good luck, happy life. Whereas now, and it could just be, I'm more experienced and I've been in the reserves now, for a while, that I realize it. But now it's, I was on the last battalion landing team. There's already guys, fire support officers getting out or infantry lieutenants. And I'm like, hey, like you can't afford not to go try the reserves, right? Like, yeah, if you go and you hate it, check out. But like, you have so much experience and training, go give it a shot. So I'm curious, did you always know you wanted to go reserves, or what made you leave active, or how'd that look?
I was always on the fence a little bit. I was having a good career. That was a great deployment. People are always trying to keep me in. I had great mentors. So I had actually deferred a year to go to our grad course in Charlottesville. And that's kind of where they typically have you, because they know if you go there, you're in for 10, you're in for 20. And so I deferred so I could deploy. And so I had just recently, within that past year, I recently waved in and got admitted to the Arizona bar, which I wasn't a member of previously. I was a member of the DC bar. And so we were always just kind of thinking and just kind of keeping our options open just in case, because I had 2 young kids at the time. And so there's always that thought of, really 2 roads, 2 paths, Robert Frost poem that I like, that I always refer to. And, I chose the one less traveled by in the end. But what it was I was very fortunate. I had to come out to Arizona before I deployed, and I met the executive director of the state bar, who is a retired 06 in the Army JAG Corps, and he just instantly became my mentor, and he shot my resumes and all that while I was deployed. So we're going into November of 2011, and I see a job announcement for the city of Phoenix to be a legal advisor for the Phoenix Police Department. And I thought, oh my gosh, if there's ever a job that'd be perfect for me and what I've done the last several years in the Army, that would be the job. So I applied for it. And as it would happen, I get home from deployment, and like 2 days later, Phoenix is calling me and saying, we want you for an interview. So I interview with Phoenix like 2 days or so post deployment. And then they call me back a few days later and they say, we want you for a second, but you've got to be here in Phoenix to interview. So I talked to my wife and I said, oh, honey, what do you think? And she said, if you don't go, you'll never know. So I wasn't planning on taking a lot of post-deployment leave. So that's what I did. I flew out to Phoenix, had a wonderful interview. I knew once I locked eyes with the police chief, see another person in uniform with stars, it would work out. And it certainly did. And so they called me back right after New Year's of 2012 and gave me the offer. So I talked to Branch and I said, hey, can you top that offer? And they couldn't. And so I dropped my paper, and that's how it happened. So
yeah. And did you immediately go into the Army Reserve?
I did. So I knew, 8 years in, I never wanted to give this career up. And I had always worked with reservists and guardsmen in my career. And I always noticed that they were having more fun than everybody else, or at least that's what I thought. And so little did I know, but seriously. But I was very fortunate because like you guys, nobody really told me. It was almost like, congratulations, you're in the reserve. And fortunately, I was on active, and I wasn't final out yet. I had a couple months before my resignation took place. And so I reached out to a gentleman that I had worked with in a civilian capacity. We worked together when I was at Fort Sam, and he's a colonel in the reserves. And so I reached out to him, and he's now Brigadier General retired Jerry Crimble. And I reached out to him at the time, Jerry, as I knew him, and I said, "Hey, I heard you're taking command at this unit in Phoenix. I'm moving to Phoenix. Do you have anything?" He said, "Come be my S3." And so that's how it happened. You have to network yourself, really, is what I learned.
Yeah, no, I think so. And I actually think you're spot on to something. And we talk a lot of nonsense on here, but I don't think we've ever said it. There's an element about being in the reserves that you feel like you're in control. And I think that's what, when you're on the active side, what becomes monotonous and can be a burn is like, I don't know where I'm going to live yet. I don't know if they're going to send me to school for 12 months or if they're going to send me to the West Coast or the East Coast or Hawaii, or in the Army's case, you get a million places you could go. And I think that, like, as you're having a family and you're married, that becomes a burden. And it's funny because, I get out, open my businesses, and then, here I am, I've activated and deployed and come back, and now they're going to send me to a school, which will activate me again. And so it's like, some people are like, well, you should have just stayed active. I said, no, the peace of mind in the middle that you can say no if you want to is like what makes it the best part. And I mean, obviously getting involved with Starting Strength and opening the Strength Co. That's a part of my life that I wouldn't want to not exist. Right. So it's kind of the best of both worlds in a sense. Jeff, you got any thoughts on that?
No, I mean, I think you're saying that like the reservists or like the guardsmen like just seem like they're having more fun, and that resonates with me. I'm like, but this last drill weekend that we had, we went out to the field, which is like, I think about on active duty times, like I generally liked going to the field, but I feel like going in the reserves, like you're just like, this is even more fun. Like it's so temporary that you can just kind of like put the pedal to the metal the whole time and like just enjoy it. And that's kind of what the reserves feels like for me. But I did have a question on the like difference between like Army reserves versus like National Guard. Like, is there really any like fundamental difference, or is it kind of just like who's sending you your paycheck for those drill weekends or that like the time you are working?
No, I mean, there is obviously, and I've worked with guardsmen really even in my civilian capacity, and they're obviously more focused on stateside responsibilities, and they're very, cognizant of their state time role. Whereas we are literally on the reserve side in a federal capacity. There's also just the breakdown in MOSs where they have more of your combat arms side for now. That may change. Is resident in the National Guard versus we will have more of your logistics side folks, your MPs, your JAGs, your doctors, civil affairs, those types in the Army Reserve.
Okay. Interesting.
Yeah. Okay. So obviously an athlete, college baseball, bout with cancer, which I didn't know, which obviously takes a huge physical toll. I don't remember your numbers, and due to some of the change in DOW, I can't just like pull up my .mil at the blink of a hat anymore. But you did you got 299 in your APFT, I think, and if I remember right, you're deadlifting in the 400s, squatting in the 3s. I guess my curiosity is kind of like, obviously you've been athletic since childhood, top physical, or much above average physical fitness to go into the Army. But now, as a colonel, nearly maxing the dang thing out, kind of what was your training philosophy before? How'd you end up, squatting 3 sets of 5? And, I don't know, what's your history been with strength training?
So, I mean, my history of strength training really goes all the way back to high school with football and being at that time an undersized but starting lineman. So I had to kind of lift the big weights to play just to be able to move the meat around. So that, and that continuing through college and baseball, though you're not doing the same loads obviously for that sport typically. But, I took some breaks because it's funny when I realized when I joined the Army, it was really like joining the cross country team at that time. Little did I know. And so
Yeah.
and because we had the APFT at that time, which was just, push-ups, sit-ups, 2 mile run, it doesn't take much to really get ready for that other than a lot of running because, as you ought to be able to do a sufficient amount of sit-ups in 2 minutes and a sufficient amount of push-ups in 2 minutes. Never had issues with that. But when at that time, the ACFT, which is now called just the AFT because they cut one event, that came online in 2020. We did our last APFT in 2019. So knowing that this test was coming on board and was going to involve more strength events, you had to get geared towards that test. So it really wasn't until I took my first ACFT that I realized, oh my gosh, I'm seeing other people lift really big weights on the deadlift, and now I'm down to like 160 pounds. At my top weight, I was like 205. I came in the Army at probably about 185. And I'm going, I could still do that. I could still do that. And I realized I was still really good at the APFT type of events that were on the ACFT, the push-ups, we removed the sit-ups, we had the plank, and then the 2 mile run. But I really wanted to get really good at the lifting events again. And so it's just been progressively getting better at those and then just fully committing to it really this past year. So I realized it was literally all legs. Nice. So yeah, sorry.
Yeah, no, that's it. And did you find starting strength or did you find strength co or like what were you running a novice linear progression or like what did you stumble onto first that you implemented?
I found starting strength first because I naturally, like a lot of other viewers and listeners, I troll YouTube and you do the search prompts, and so I would get the starting strength. I get Ripeto's videos up first, and then a lot of times Grant, yours will kind of connect with his, or I'll see some of yours in my feed, and you start watching those over and over again. And you start, investigating the program more. I didn't buy the book, but nowadays you don't necessarily have to because there's so much already available on the internet. So
yeah,
I was just going. Right. I was just going. I can do this, and it just made so much sense because, we've been doing a lot of these, kettlebell oriented things, and everybody passes them off as functional fitness, But no, the most functional fitness is what starting strength and the strength code does with the 4 main lifts. And so I bought into it big time and I just dedicated myself to it. And it's made all the difference.
Yeah. And so for your test, because I want to talk about trap bars a little bit. And as a guy wearing a starting strength t-shirt right now, I'm not supposed to talk about trap bars, but I actually want to, and I think that it'll resonate with you, Ian, but you got to do body weight, trap bar deadlift to max out. How does it exactly, what are you testing on the deadlift? Because I kind of want to focus the conversation on that.
On the deadlift, the max lift on there you would have to do is 350 pounds 3 times. So, kind of get up, sort of touch and go. But
perfect score.
That would be a perfect score on that lift for most soldiers on that event. Of course, okay. with age, with what they compensate for age and gender, it'll be a little bit different. But for your average male in the Army, it's about 350 pounds 3 times is the max.
Okay, and it's on a trap bar, right?
It's on a trap bar, yes.
Yeah, and when you train, as you trained for it, do you train on a trap bar or do you train on a straight bar?
Both. Yeah, because you just
okay, yeah,
because you have to get used to. I mean, there's similar concepts. I mean, you could take a little bit wider stance in a trap bar, as you guys know, but I prefer to approach my trap bar more like I approach a conventional deadlift. And so there's a lot of transfer over there. I mean, I get Ripeto's complaints about the trap bar and how it moves, but if you get it just right and your form and your technique is there, it's pretty much the same lift, just from sort of a different angle. But I train both.
No, yeah, and that's kind of what I was going to get at. Is there's no trap bars in the Strength Co here in California. I don't have a trap. I don't think I've ever owned a trap bar. And in general, if people ask me like, what do you think about trap bars? I'm like, just get a regular bar and deadlift. You can also use it to squat. You can use it for all those things. But then sometimes folks that are really into strength coaching and, they want to talk all the stuff, it's like, well, like the fact that the Army is making soldiers deadlift 350 pounds for 3 reps is so much ahead of everyone else that I don't really care if it's on a trap bar. And I'd also make the argument of, I think you're right. You want to, what I say in the Marine Corps doesn't translate to you, but when I got these big guys like bigger than me and they're like, oh, sir, I can pull 600. I'm like, yeah, well, the Marine Corps doesn't care how much you can deadlift, right? Like they care how many pull-ups can you do, how's your plank, all that stuff. The Army actually does care how much you deadlift. I'd make the argument if you train conventional and you go to a trap bar, if your conventional deadlift's higher than whatever you got to pull, you're going to have no issue. But I think it's like anything. It's like, do I prefer the low bar squat to the high bar squat? 100%. You're going to use more muscle mass, you're more posterior chain. But what I prefer more is that people are squatting. And so, if you're 50 years old and you want to learn how to squat and you're high bar squatting and I get a hold of you, I'm going to be like, hey, let's try it this way. And that'll be better. But you're way ahead of everyone else that's not doing it. And that's kind of what I think with the trap bar. And I also, as a guy that just came off of command, had 140 guys, like, yes, I want everyone running starting strength. But the reality is there's a group PT session. You don't have certified trainers. You're doing your best with what you got. And there's something about the trap bar, which essentially is a hybrid of a half squat and a deadlift, that is easier for people to get into position. And I say this like I say it as a coach, right? Like if someone doesn't know how to put their lumbar in extension, a conventional deadlift takes coaching to be able to get them there. Whereas like the trap bar, is it as effective? Is it as good a range of motion? Are the mechanics and the physics of it as good as a conventional deadlift? No, absolutely not. But it's still some like force production. And so, yeah, I don't know. I think the Army's change to that was genius, really. And I think it's also super realistic. 350 pounds for 3 reps. Your average guy under 200 pounds has to train for, right? They have to like do some type of strength training to get there. Whereas the run on the Marine Corps PFT, 18-minute 3-mile, like that's an insane amount of training, right? That's not like general fit. Like that one's kind of crazy to me. And so I think, I don't know. I'm a fan of what you guys moved to. I think the test is way better. And I think it gets to the point where hey, if I have a decent cardiovascular, I'm above average strength, I can perform really well. Whereas if I wanted to run an 18-minute 3-mile, which I've just said I'm not going to do, right? I'll run, sub 8-minute miles and I'll max everything else. I'll use my strength otherwise, but I'd probably have to lose 30 pounds. And, my deadlift would go way down. And to me, it's like, well, that's not as functional as an artillery officer, as, maintaining my strength and, not maxing out the run score. But, it's, did most of the Army like the change? Was it well accepted?
I think overall it was. I mean, they had to change it a little bit. Originally, instead of planks, we were doing leg tucks. And so some people had difficulty with that, kind of getting up in that pull-up position and tucking, obviously bringing their legs up to a tuck. I didn't have a problem with it, but some people did. So it was one of those tests that created a lot of controversy at the beginning because trying to, figure out and beta test it and see what the passing would be on that. But no, I think overall most soldiers adapted to it and they were looking forward to it because it was really testing those, a lot of those things that you just mentioned and realizing that a lot of our soldiers are out there lifting, probably not enough, but it's got something in it for everybody.
Sure.
What I noticed was when I first started taking it, before I got really good at it, the big guys dominated, that event. They dominated. We used to have a ball throw where you basically took a 10-pound weighted ball and you threw it over your head, you chucked it for distance. And so the big guys dominated that, and the smaller guys would dominate, the traditional, what I call the APFT events. So you kind of approach it, almost like it's like a track and field decathlon or something, that your goal is to try and be, in the 90s to 100s on every event, no matter what. So that's how I approached it.
Yeah. Jeff, you got any thoughts on that before we move on?
No, nothing. Yeah, I think the AFT, I like that test a lot. I think it was a great update. I think having like a broader range of tests is a better all like gauge of overall fitness. And so, I think the Marine Corps kind of paved the way by doing the CFT and the PFT, but I think combining it into like one kind of event, because in the Marine Corps, you kind of almost get this like seasonality of like, okay, this is PFT season, I got to get back to running. Okay, it's CFT season, I got to work on some like strength and being able to like carry my buddy or do the Am OK and lifts. So you kind of don't get that like year round kind of like total approach to fitness. People kind of like, take 6 months of the year to target one test, and then 6 months of the year to target the other test. Whereas I think if you have one that tests everything, everybody's going to be kind of just at a peak level of fitness or a better level of overall fitness year round.
Yeah, no, I agree. So what year are you on? 24, 22?
I'm 22 and some change now.
Years in the Army?
22 and some change.
22 in the change. What's the plan? You chasing stars?
It gets.
Is that even a path in the JAGs? I don't even know. Like, is that like? I mean,
it is like? It is a path, yes, but it's it's a difficult path. I think when you guys get up there, it's so different. I don't know how. I assume they rate Marine Corps colonels the same way, similarly how they rate us, where it's just a lot different at that field grade level, because now you're not like most qualified, you are like 1-star or 2-star potential, how they rate you on your evaluations. And so, yeah, it's certainly competitive. I think for me, my goal is just I'm a competitive guy, stay competitive. I just want to keep playing the game, because what I've learned in the reserve component, at least on the Army side, it's a game of musical chairs. And the higher up you go, there may not be a chair waiting for you when the assignments come around again. So just be as competitive as you can, no matter what.
Yeah. And so on the civilian side, so you're with the, police department. You've had quite the career there now, right? I mean, what do you, 14 years there? I mean, that's got to be a huge part of your life as well.
It is, yeah. So I was with Phoenix PD for almost 10 years. I've been with Chandler PD now for almost 5. So 2 different agencies in that 14 or so year period. But yeah, no, it's been fun, and I think I've learned so much and brought so much over from the military into the PD world. It's a very similar world. I think a lot of folks would tell you that. I've worked with so many what do we call them? Former Marines, right? Because there's no ex-Marines in both agencies. Yeah. A lot of them still serving in the reserve, either Army, Marine Corps. But yeah, it's been a great career, and I really feel like I've never really left the service. I always kind of say the PD has me on loan from the Army. Basically, it's like working with industry. So I wear BDUs. I wear 511 pants and a polo shirt and boots to go to work. I don't wear a tie, so it's great.
Yeah. Okay. Very cool. Very cool. And you got 2 kids. One was born when you were at Irwin. So is your son lifting weights?
He is. He's lifting weights. He's a junior at Point Loma down in San Diego. So he's 21. I have a 17-year-old daughter who's a junior in high school. But he's lifting weights. I got him started on the program this summer as well. And he was a cross-country athlete in high school. So he's a little bit taller than me. He's about 6'1" and a half. We look very different. I'm only 5'8". But he and I both were just talking about how much muscle we put on. He's now 186 pounds. I'm up to 175 from 160 a year ago. So he's just crushing it.
Oh, wow.
I love it. So,
yeah. So I got to ask you, do you have a home gym, or are you training on base or at the police spot, or where are you lifting?
Well, I have to give props to Chandler PD. We have some phenomenal facilities. I use our training center, but we have a gym inside every one of our precincts. So it's all deluxe,
Oh, okay.
That's awesome.
Rogue outfitted. We're very blessed over here.
Yeah, no, that's great. We just built out in New Jersey a precinct, and we've done a lot. It'll be folks that follow us or do whatever. And we just built out a couple police. We did 3 police stations last year. We just did one like last month. Christopher Cabarano, who's been a long time listener. He's on our Slack channel and stuff. And I forgot what he got promoted to exactly, but he was like, "Hey, I can now decide where we buy weights. I want to buy strength co plates." And I was like, "Let's go." So he got some stuff. So no, that's great. That's awesome. Okay. So we got to talk a little bit of current events, and you're like us. We're in, but we're not in, but we're in, but obviously, we always have to keep things above brow, even though we like to have a good time. But how does the current world feel to you? With everything that you got going on in Iran right now. You've have a long career. What are you thinking about what's happening right now? Do you have any thoughts that you think are worth sharing for the average listener, right? Because I try to explain things. I just got off the 31st MEU. I was on it last year. Now the 31st MEU got sent up to the Strait. And, and I don't say this as a knock to the civilians. It's what makes America so great with a volunteer service. But, conflict rises out, and people that don't have a concept of how the organization works will text and be like, "Hey, with everything going on, are you going to have to go to Iran?" And, and the military person with experience will be like, "Well, I actually just got back from deployment. So I'm probably the least likely person to go to Iran right now, unless, something crazy happens." But the unit that I was with, it's a rotational unit that gets filled with different folks, and they're actually sent over there. And so you try to explain that, but yeah, anyway, take it wherever you want.
Well, I'll say this, especially having gone to the War College and everything, I'll say this for the average listener. The threats have always been there. It just seems like we're doing more to confront those threats nowadays. So I'll put it that way. As far as being reservist, the one thing I really love about the reserve component that's so different than the active component is I've gotten way more soldier training in the reserve component. I feel like readiness is in our blood and our DNA in the reserve component. I think a lot of active folks sometimes take that for granted, or at least in my MOS field.
Yeah.
I could say that having been on both sides. So I just know for me personally, I'm probably less likely than the two of you to get deployed being a JAG and a colonel, because they typically like to take captains and majors, but I'm ready for anything and,
sure.
lead anybody, so whatever comes our way, but I feel like we're dealing with those threats.
Yeah, no, I think that's exact. Yeah, I think you're spot on. It's always been there. Okay. So you got a couple, before we take you through the rounds here, you got a couple, junior majors here. We're going to call you sir for a minute, let you put your 06 hat on. We're both getting ready to go to colleges this year. Jeff's going to the Air Force War College. I'm going to the Navy War College, both doing the resident professional military education. So we'll pump out in July. But if you were to go back to your 04 time, very similar career progression in terms of, 8 to 10 years of active service. I feel like you're a mentor now. So what would you tell us? And I kind of mean it in all aspects in terms of service and dealing with other branches, but also in terms of family and I always tell my reservists, you can't be a good reservist unless you have the other side of your life in order. Mm-hmm. I'm like, if the other side of your life is not in order, then you will never get you will never be able to give what the service demands from you, right? So anyway, yeah, you got any advice for us?
Yeah, definitely. If you guys, and that would be pretty young to go to work college, at least for me, because a lot of us were already, you know, 05s and 06s, at least at the Army War College for us non-resident folks. But heading down that way, for me, it was a lot like a return to law school, or I was a poli-sci major in college. It was like a, advanced poli-sci degree. But definitely you're going to have to, get back into writing again, because that's huge. Everything's, based on your writing and your participation, especially in the resident course. So if I can ever be of service to you guys and share any products of my written work, I did really well there. I'll be happy to do it. But yeah, you guys are getting ready to lead at that strategic level now. And so what you're going from, for us going through, for myself going through Command and General Staff College first, where you're learning to be a better staff officer and work in a joint environment. Now you're learning to think at that strategic level. So you're keeping that in mind to see the whole field now in the bigger picture. So keep that in mind when you guys are going out there. But yes, family's so important. And again, it's you that goes back to being a reservist. Is you're just in this constant state of readiness. Stay ready so you don't have to get ready. That's definitely for sure a part of what we do. But no, you guys are going to love it. You really enjoy it. It's a lot of work, but it's worth it.
Yeah. Awesome. No, I'm excited. Yeah, I think Jeff is too.
For sure.
Yeah. Yeah. I'm kind of excited. We're both going with different branches. Not meaning not with each other, but that I am excited to go to the Navy school, as I think Jeff is excited to go to the Air Force school, because you learn, last year alone, just being on ship, right? Okay. And I'm a Marine, I'm a department of the Navy, but that was my first float. And it was like, wow, you just see how the organization works and how it's different. And so I'm pretty fired up about that. Jeff, should we kind of take him through the shtick here?
Yeah, absolutely. Let's do it. Do you want to
I'll let you take it away.
All right. So now we're going to have you do kind of an on-the-spot ad read for BW Tax. If you've listened to previous episodes with guests, you may know kind of the deal here, but we'll give you some facts about our illustrious sponsor, BW. And then from there, you can take those little nuggets that we give you and mold them how you see fit, and then kind of deliver your own ad read as however, long-winded or short you want to make it. We've had all varieties on this podcast, but I'll kick it off.
For sure.
With BW Tax. Best thing about them is that you're getting like a one-on-one interaction with a real life human being. He's not going to put you on hold forever or make you talk to some chat bot or tell you to call him back tomorrow or the next day. Like he's going to talk to you. He's going to find out what you need, and he's going to take care of it for you.
Yeah, I think I'll go a track that I don't know that we've ever done on the show, but BW, I went to college with him at the Citadel, and at the Citadel, everyone's in the Corps of Cadets, and everyone has to choose an ROTC to study. You have to do a military science two credit hour course, and if you take this as a knock, I don't want you to, but I guess it's good for banter. But everyone knew the Army one's the easiest one to take. It's like if you go to the Marine one, it's like, well, if you go to the Marine one, if you're not signing up to be a Marine, they're just super mean to you, right? And if you go to the Air Force one, you can't be dumb. But the Army one, it's like, yeah, we get it. You guys are cadets and you got to take something, come take it. And it's most of the classes, there were some really good classes, but a lot of them were pitching you on the National Guard, right? That if I look back now with my 38-year-old brain, it was a recruiting opportunity to get people that had an interest in military life to join the National Guard. But I still have to say, BW Tax went to a military school, lived the cadet life. The senior military college is much different than the services as we know, but he was he did ROTC, the Army program, and it does provide perspective. And he has talked to me a lot. He's a dad, a husband, a father of 3, a business owner. And he's like, man, when I deal with military folks, I know how it all works because so many of my college buddies went into the service, and he's like, and it's actually really help them with their taxes. So that's what I like about him. But with that, sir, we'll let you do whatever you want.
I will, and I did look at his website before, so I had something prepared. So
Yes.
I'll run with that. Here we go.
I love
There
it.
you go.
You know that old line, the only sure things in life are death and taxes. Who has time? Who has the patience? Who wants the hassle? Taxes shouldn't feel like you're going to die. That's why you should choose BW Tax LLC. They help you navigate the complex world of tax and accounting through proactive planning and innovation. Fully paperless and tech powered, their software crushes the grunt work so their experts can focus on you, spotting problems, slashing costs, saving you time and money. Individual returns? No problem. S-Corps, IRS notices? No sweat. Whether it's tax preparation or planning, federal or state, BW has you covered. Call BW Tax LLC. Tell them the OK podcast sent you. That's BW Tax. Smarter taxes, zero drama.
I gotta say, sir,
Amazing.
if we wanted to prove that you were a colonel and we're just a couple of majors that haven't been to school yet, you just did it. You were prepped. You were ready. Beautiful done. That's up there on the ad reads.
Great.
And you even threw in the hard okay, so we don't have to ask you for that one now.
I was ready either way.
Okay, I guess it. Yeah. Before we let you go, any questions for us? You got a lifting question burning? Anything you'd like to see us cover in the future?
Yes, kind of both, actually, Grant. Thank you for asking. So I do have a couple of questions here. I would like your guys' thoughts on landmine workouts as assistance exercise, or what do you see the utility? Because you're starting to see more gyms have that piece of equipment in there. I've done it before myself, and the way I look at a lot of this stuff, Grant, is I look at strength trainings, barbell training, everything else is either assistance exercise or it's kind of cardio, really, to me. But what are your thoughts on landmine workouts?
Yeah, I have a landmine in my gym. It's an attachment on my Rogue R3, and we mainly use that. I have had clients over the years. There's two things that happen in, I say dudes, women too, but primarily dudes. Women tend to maintain range of motion better, but men will have like a scapula almost freeze. So like a shoulder will go all the way up and extend normally, and the other one will like get really tight and lock up. Or I've had people with broken collarbones. But in any event, I use the landmine whenever I think that we need to do one-sided training. In general, I tell people, hey, if your left side's weaker than your right side, we load the barbell symmetrically and we bring the left side up to the right side strength or whatever side it is and just continue on. But there are times, whether it's injury or range of motion or some kind of deal, that I think that a landmine can be effective for someone to do an overhead press. I think the overhead press, I much prefer the overhead press to the bench press. I'm a bench press fan. I do it, but I think the overhead press is drastically more functional and useful than the bench press. I don't think it's even close. The bench press allows you to use more weight because you're laying on the ground, but the range of motion and the ability to lock a barbell out overhead over the middle of the foot, which keeps tons of mobility, flexibility, and not to mention strengthens all the muscles of the shoulder girdle, I think is really, really beneficial. And sometimes the landmine can be useful. But to your point of cardio or strength training, I think a lot of people use landmines because it's like different and cool and easier. And you load it and it's easy to bend your knees and, get, a push press into it. And so I do think there's some misgivings of like, I would rather see you press, 65 pounds as a grown man overhead standing upright than I would see you do, 150 on a landmine. But I do think there's a place for it in terms of injury or, working around something.
I was wondering if Jeff had something on that too before I asked you.
I've got one. I have like a little like shed in my backyard where we've kind of turned into our own little like gym setup. We've got a landmine, and I don't bust it out a ton, and it's probably just because of the we're kind of limited on space, so we don't really have a great spot to get it set up. But I've used them in the past, at some CrossFit gyms and stuff like that had them. And I enjoy them for rows and stuff like that. If you're
I didn't even think of that.
Bent over T-bar row. They make some attachments for those. I think those are really nice. If you don't want a dedicated kind of platform to do those kind of T-bar rows, I think the landmine's a great way to kind of add those in, but then also have it kind of be a smaller footprint. And then I've used them for a lot of pressing, that sort of stuff. And I think they're great. I can see in the starting strength world, there not being as much of a place for them, but I'm kind of more in 1 foot in the CrossFit world, 1 foot in kind of the starting strength world. So I think they're great.
Another question, still on working out. I think I mentioned some of my numbers to you, Grant. I'm feeling really good in the deadlift. I'm now up to 450 on that, and overhead I'm at body weight. Bench I'm at 300 and moving up. Squat I still feel kind of stuck, and I think it's in part because when I first learned to squat, I was squatting a high bar in high school because that's all they taught us. That's all we knew. So getting back into this and learning the low bar has taken some practice, especially getting to form. So I kind of reprogrammed my squat. And so my question basically is with the deadlift, when I found it, I found what really pressing up from the floor meant. And that made all the difference in my lift once I found that. So I'm still kind of looking forward in the squat, especially in the low bar of really knowing when I've achieved depth, and I'm just kind of wondering, am I feeling it in my hips? It's at a certain point where it breaks. I'm just wondering. I'm more of a feel guy, so I guess that's my question, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, it does, and it's a little bit. I'm trying to think of the best way to answer this. I mean, the main difference in the low bar squat is the use of the hips, and that sounds like I'm reading a starting strength talking point, but I'm not, right? When you're in a high bar position, everyone tends to drive the torso out of the bottom to lift the chest. I often call it opening the clam. So regardless of what your back angle is leaned over, it's you're trying to raise the bar up. Whereas in the low bar position, you shouldn't really be thinking about the bar. The bar just kind of happens to be there. And when you're driving through midfoot, your focus is kind of at the fulcrum, which is your hip, and of driving that area, your butt up, your hips, for those to come up, and the bar is going to come with it. And that is, I will tell you this. I started lifting at the Citadel. I mean, I lifted in high school with my brother, but I started doing CrossFit in 2008, 7, my sophomore year, playing rugby with BW. And I did all the CrossFit style, high bar squat, all that kind of stuff. Ripito wrote the CrossFit Journal at the time, and I read all about the low bar squat, and I tried to implement it, but I couldn't. And then when I would go to CrossFit gyms, as they started to pop up in the East Coast, everyone would just have me high bar. And at some point after commissioning, with Jeff and I were living together out here in Southern California, I really committed to the high bar, and I did it for about 3 years. And I'll never forget working with Paul Horn. If you haven't read his book, you should. Radically Simple Strength. He basically takes all the starting strength book and condenses it to 110 pages of hey, this is what you need to know. And then also, by the way, novice linear progression doesn't work the whole time. So here's what you then should do. And here's a bunch of different options based off if you want to cut, if you want to bulk, whatever you want to do. But I'll never forget being in his gym and him coaching me. And I would go see him, I might have even been a coach at this point, but I would still go see him to get my lifts looked at. And there was a day that he was like, on this day, you finally learned hip drive. And it was kind of like a bulb went off of oh, I'm not cranking my chest up and lifting my back. I'm committing to leaning over. Everything that I've been trying to do for, at that point, 3-4 years, But getting the hip to rise. And if you have you gone to Santana's gym there in Phoenix?
I haven't. No. I've just been working.
I mean, I want you to drive to California because we can, hang out and lift. But I also know logistics are a thing. Santana's there. And it's probably worth a session just to go in and be like, hey, these are my numbers. I'm struggling with finding depth and hip drive on the squat. Depth is if your heels are on the outside of your shoulders. And I often tell people when I'm coaching them in person, I say, look at the seam of your t-shirt, right? Like there's a seam, every shirt, regardless of who makes it, it's made in China, US, whatever. There's a part where they put the seam that's on the lateral edge of the shoulder. And if you put the center of the heels there, and point the toes out, depth should really kind of fix itself if you're shoving your knees out, unless you're being scared, which I doubt you are, right? Especially with like an empty bar or a lighter weight. But if your heel and toe angle is set up out of the gate, I can get anyone to depth, right? Like anyone. And if you're getting tight, if you're doing the Valsalva, bracing your abs, setting your back, you should feel a stretch reflex and you should almost automatically kind of stop so you're not going below parallel. Now, if you're not taking a big breath of air and not bracing your abs, now you could go into a bunch of flexion and go to too much depth. But most of that should be kind of self-correcting. But I think for most people, depth, you just got to yell at them, hey, go deeper. Even if it's just the empty bar, right? It has nothing to do with it being heavy, but just like, nope, keep going, Ian, keep going. Okay, now drive up. The harder part to coach and for people to understand is how to lead with the hips out of the bottom. And I sell online coaching. We sell a Slack channel that has coaching, but I'll tell you, there's nothing like in person. Like I want you to sign up for everything that I sell because it's my business. But if you can, like call Bob Santana and be like, hey, I live in your neighborhood and Grant said I should just come do a session with you. And in person, it's 10x, right? I mean, you've been on many a Teams call, Ian. Yes. What's better, being on the Teams call or being in the room, right? That's 100% applies.
Yes. No, and I appreciate that because it's the lift that I know I can be very good at. And right now I'm in that sort of mid-3 range and I know I could be more. I mean, I was a catcher in baseball. I'm used to being in a squatting position and I could still get down there just fine. No limitations, but I think it's just one of those that's been kind of eluding me a little bit just in terms of, am I there? Am I not? And I think you're right, Grant, just maybe some coaching and somebody to say, yep, you're right there. Keep doing that. Or don't do that will be very helpful.
And sometimes that's all it is we play these like huge mind games in lifting. I mean, I feel like some of my job as a coach, as I've done this longer, is like, no, brother, you're fine. Like, keep lifting. Yep, it sucks. It's hard. Yeah. Nope, you're fine. Like, keep going. My back hurts. Should I deadlift anyway? Yep, you should. So sometimes that's why a coaching session can sometimes be helpful because you just get the validation. Or come out here, visit your family all over Orange County, bring them all in. We'll squat, we'll deadlift, and then we'll go eat some pizza or something, and you can tell my wife, hey, it gets better, he won't deploy all the time. It's fine.
Well, I definitely have a good Mexican restaurant recommendation for you if you've never been there. So,
hit it. We need a little chow talk. Go for it.
All right. So, my favorite Mexican restaurant in all of Southern California, and it's a small minor change, is El Cholo.
This is El Churro.
El Cholo.
What city?
El Cholo.
Oh,
and
Cholo.
It's El Cholo.
Santa Monica or La Habra?
I love the La Habra location, but the original in Los Angeles off of Western is the original. That's nothing touches that.
Yep.
La Habra's phenomenal. So.
They opened one here in Salt Lake City. It's like it's like the restaurant we can walk to from our house. It's like a 15-minute walk. But yeah. And there's like, all the history of like the original locations and stuff like that. So I'm like, it's a solid spot. And I bet the ones in California are better than the one in Salt Lake City.
Oh, this looks pretty cool. It's got like, it's got like the family vibe, like the sit down. Oh, cool. No. Yeah. I'll check that out. I go up to Santa Fe Springs a good bit. We do some warehouse stuff up there. So right there.
Okay.
Well, most of the time we say this and no one knows what we're saying, but you will. You got any save rounds or alibis?
Only thing would just be to ask you guys, I wouldn't be right for me as an Army officer not to ask you Marines, especially know I got a few Marines listening to this right now. What's your favorite flavor of crayon? So,
I'm definitely cherry red.
I like the blue ones.
Yeah.
It's always my favorite meme. That's always my favorite meme on the Marine Corps birthdays, to send that to all my Marine buddies and send them a box of crayons on the text message. But I love it.
No, it's good. I took a photo a few months ago, right when I got home, and we went down to San Diego, and they give my daughter crayons, and she immediately starts eating them. And I took a photo and said like breakfast or something. And everyone was like, oh, there it is, Marine eating crayons, So it's good.
I appreciate it, gentlemen.
Hey, well, sir,
thank you. This was a lot of fun.
We appreciate it. We got some Army guys that listen to the podcast as well. I'd like to connect you with my brother, the JAG. That might be useful. We also appreciate the insight, and obviously we'll keep in touch. But thanks for coming on.
Thank you, gentlemen. Appreciate it. God bless.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah, God bless. Appreciate it, sir. Good dude. Prep.
That was good. That was fun. Yeah.
Is that highest ranking?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, easy, right?
Yeah, easy. By a long shot. Yeah. I think we've been the highest ranking until now. I don't think we've had an 05 on. So,
dang.
Got the old Colonel on.
Love it. That was fun.
Yeah, good dude. Well, we definitely bumped our gums for a while.
Should we start the show now?
Yeah, let's start the show. Okay, I'm going to start. The closer for the Padres.
Ooh, yes.
What's his name? Matters?
I don't know. I'm
going to look it up. Mason Miller. I said, Matters. Mason Miller. So I'm at the game. I'm with some guys from first team. We've had this game scheduled for a long time. One of my buddies, Troy Campbell, as you guys know, is dad, far more supporter of the podcast than the son, but great things come with age. But he's a Detroit fan. So Padres opening weekend against Detroit. Detroit wins the first two games. He got me a take me out to the ball game Tiger shirt. I'm wearing it. I got my USS San Diego hat on. All the fans are confused. I wanted to wear all Red Sox garb, but I didn't. In any event, Tigers are down 3-0, goes into the ninth, and the lights black out at Petco Park. And we're talking, we kind of already know the game's over. We keep saying, time to get the bats going. But, you kind of have that feeling, 3-0 in the top of the ninth. Yeah. Lights go off, cell phone lights come on, Korn starts playing. I would not have known it was Korn. The only thing I know about Korn is that when I was in high school, a guy wore that to Bible study, and the Bible study leader made him change his shirt with a Community Bible Church t-shirt. So I don't know if they're satanic or exactly what they're into. But we watch it, and it was cool. Lights are off, music's playing, lights are flashing on and off. And Troy's like, is this guy that good? I'm like, I don't know what's happening right now, but I like theater, and this is fun. And then I got home that night, and the last 3 days, every social media feed, at least my feeds, are just like that entrance, like, wow, so badass when, my Mason Miller walked out to this Korn song. Did you see it?
It hasn't popped up on anything for me.
Maybe it's just because I was there.
But man, I tell you that, what are those, LED stadium lights now, or whatever it is that switched from the technology where they can manipulate the color and flash them on and off.
Yeah.
That changed stadium dynamics so hard. So yeah, I bet closer walkouts have just gotten way cooler.
It was cool. And it was cool. And I didn't know it was happening. And I had zero buy-in to either team.
Yeah.
I mean, obviously I was hoping Troy's Tigers would win because he had buy-in. I also kind of like San Diego. I was on the USS San Diego, but yeah, it was cool. Okay, second thing, baseball. Besides that, the Red Sox suck. Are you tracking this pitch thing? Double tap the head, get a challenge.
Yes. And then I also saw a thing talking about how the strike zone isn't a set zone. It's
based off the height of the player or something.
6% of their height, and then the width is 17% of their height, and it starts. So it's man, poor umpires.
Well, so we're there, and I can't remember if it was Padres or Tigers, but it's instant.
Oh yeah.
So guy taps his helmet. I don't know what's happening. Jumbotron shows the pitch coming in. They called a strike. It's a ball. It's a walk. Everyone cheers. And then I saw the Yankees hate them, but Joe Torre called 5 in a row. And then on the 5th one, starts screaming at the ump to do his job, still gets ejected. And it's you would think, I think it's called, is it ABS?
Yeah. The automated ball strikes. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's crazy. And I think, is it every player gets 2?
I think it's every team gets 2.
Okay.
And
because every player would be crazy.
If you lose it, okay, but I think if you get it right, you get you don't
lose any.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
yeah,
it'll be interesting. I think I like
you think
it.
You like it?
Is, I mean, there is part of me that in any sport that the officiating
keep the cameras out
is a human element. And
human factors.
And what's crazy is how often they are right with their balls and strikes, or whether the guy stepped out of bounds in football or whatever it is, that I'm that's pretty amazing. We don't ever give these guys credit, but I don't know. I mean, it'd be weird.
Feel about it. I mean, I think watching it, I like it. In general, I like technology, and it's it makes things better. But I kind of like listening to the sports fans from insert city that are well, we had that bad call. And there's an element of me that that's part of sports.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I mean, it's definitely interesting. And then it's also okay. Auburn. This pitch happens. It comes at 96 miles an hour, and then you're going to show me a video graphic that it's wrong.
Yeah, and it's and the ones I've seen, maybe there have. I don't know. Again, it's pretty limited. I've been watching the Braves 12-minute condensed games,
as one does,
and man, the ones they get wrong are pretty close. And then there's ones.
No, it's missed it by 0.8 inches.
You're
I'm that's a great pitch.
You're dang, okay. The pitcher hit his spot. You should reward him for that. Dang, yeah. So I don't know. And it's it's a sport. This is all just for fun in the end. Does it need to be perfect? Are they, or is there going to be a part where they're oh, we don't need the umpire behind home plate?
I mean, I think that's what's next.
Yeah.
And then you don't need the batter. You just have a Tesla robot.
But you have Shohei Ohtani. He's still out there. Yeah. You have him.
Yeah. It's just drones and Shohei Ohtani. All right. Any hot topics that we can't push to next week?
We
don't have to push them next week. I'm down.
I'm just saying trucking prices got really cheap is what you put that in there for. I'm they're just giving away shipments.
Can I get a discount? Let me tell you guys something. Okay. Let me give you a little Grant's rant. Everything costs money. Okay. I know you don't believe this, but everything costs money. So that means when you buy cardboard to put plates in, the cardboard gets made somewhere and then hauled somewhere and then delivered somewhere, and a forklift picks it up and puts it down, and it gets picked up by FedEx, UPS, you name it. Everything takes fuel. And so, let's just say when you're moving 44,000 pounds of American iron around at a time, But what do you think about the war in Iran? I think I got to raise the prices of strength coat plates. No, I asked you about the war. That's all I'm talking about right now.
I'm talking about the war also.
Talking about the war. Yeah, it's a story as old as time. Price of oil, which is still funny to me that we talk about it in barrels. But yeah, trucking prices high. And it's crazy because it's like some companies, I don't know if they haven't caught up or if they like have their own. We usually, anytime we move anything, this could be less than truckload movement or a full truckload, which we move, 10 a month. We vet about 4 companies. And hey, I got 44,000 pounds, 27 skids going from, Slinger, Wisconsin to wherever. And you'll get a range bigger than $1,000.
Oh, jeez.
And so now I'm like, and trucking companies are the worst and the best in that they call you nonstop. Hey, it's Bobby from Minnesota. You got any loads coming? And now I'm like, send them to all of them. Every guy that's ever called, give me 47 quotes because I want to see what I can do. And the range is wilder than ever. So yeah, trucking prices. There's a straight that is not straight. So my homeschool brain can't wrap my mind around it. But it's, doggy. If you don't own your strength coat plates, buy them now. Buy them now.
Boy.
It's a threat.
Oh. So
it's a threat.
Line in the sand?
It's a threat.
All right.
What else you got?
I guess the rest we can kind of kick that can down the road because there's Trey had a few in there. Ooh, I do want to hear.
Yeah, I love that he was dropping topics even though he knew he wasn't going to make it.
I do want to hear about the slide for time zone calculations. Is that was that a slide in a brief?
Yeah, we'll save that one.
Okay.
I think we got to run down memory lane real quick with a little Leucadia.
Who sent it? Oh yeah, you were sending me all the hits.
Yeah, I was down there in Encinitas. For you East Coast types, here's the thing about East Coasters. They think 90% of California is San Diego. Mm-hmm. And props to San Diego. I think you've branded yourself well, but they just think that 90% of California is San Diego and like 10% is California. And then they're like, oh, right, LA's there. But there's like brackets. There's like Southern California. There's South California. Mm-hmm. There's Southern California. There's Northern California. There's Central California. Still got to do my Jersey recap. But yeah, I was in Northern San Diego County, which I would call, in my mind, Jeff, there's Southern California, which is everything from the border of Mexico to the start of Camp Pendleton.
Yeah, for sure.
That is Southern California. That's like as southern as you can get. Then there's South California, which is like the start of Camp Pendleton all the way up to probably Long Beach.
Okay.
Where Long Beach meets LA. So you got like all of Orange County, and you could take this inland too. I'm okay with that. But then you have South California. LA is its own thing. It's its totally own
100%,
thing.
100%.
And then you start to venture into Southern Central California.
Okay.
But I do think the difference between Southern California and South California, in my mind, are very distinct. So let's say I was in Southern California where Jeff and I cut our teeth. You got Camp Pendleton, Oceanside, Carlsbad, Leucadia, Encinitas. Remember, Leucadia is a city of Encinitas.
That's right.
Encinitas, Solana Beach next, Del Mar or Del Mar, Solana Beach.
You throw Cardiff by the Sea.
Cardiff by the Sea. See, there's a lot of hot takes. But anyway, I was down there, very beachy vibe, much different than Orange County. The burritos, dude, we stayed at like a resort, did the whole points thing, and there was a burrito shop next door. And I went back to back to back.
I love it.
And I just forgot. And that's a whole different type of Mexican food. like whatever that is in Southern California, the way they make the burrito with the French fries in it. I actually didn't get the one with the fries in it. My wife did, but like the tortillas, like a different texture. Oh man, it was great. Yeah.
Was there folate? Was there folate in those tortillas? What was it? Did they add any folic acid to those tortillas?
No. Yeah, these are pure. These are pure.
Okay, good.
These are from the last admin.
Yeah. Okay, good.
You know. I did go to Lou's Records.
Love that.
Picked up Johnny Mr. Midnight. I've listened to it once, but like with my child awake.
Yeah.
And so like I've heard it. It's a little more funky than I was anticipating.
For sure.
It's like a jam band kind of.
A little bit, yeah. There's definitely a little funk in that.
Yeah, one. I liked it. But I haven't like focused.
Yeah.
You know,
makes sense.
But the sound overall is good. It was a little different than I expected. But he's kind of Jack Whiting it. Like this is him, but he's pretending it's someone else. Or is he more George Strait? No, not George Strait. Who's the jumping guy? Big jumping guy.
Garth
Early
Brooks
podcast
with
Garth Brooks
Chris Gaines.
and is it more of that?
I think it's more. I almost feel like it's more Jack Whitey in that, like, but almost like opposite, because like Jack White went from like band to kind of his own thing, vice like Sturgill being Sturgill Simpson, but now he's Johnny Blue Skies, and that's
and
more
Johnny
like
Blue Skies is a band.
But I feel like with this though, he like kind of he still wants to do some country stuff, I feel like, but like wants to also be able to do all the other stuff that he wants to do and not kind of be like, well, that new Sturgill Simpson album didn't sound like a Sturgill Simpson album. He's like, no. Johnny Blue Skies could sound like anything. Like it's kind of its own unique. It
was a little psychedelic.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Cool. I feel like if you hit some shrooms and turned on like Fox News Iran clips, you could have a really good time. Really good time.
Hell yeah, brother.
All right. You got any saved rounds alibis?
I got nothing else. Nothing else for the group.
This podcast is brought to you by Mr. Helmet. Green gridiron green. We did you a disservice today, sir. We didn't make our guest talk about it. I missed it in the opening rant. I was too focused on the nuclear plant in Orange County, and I forgot. But if you need a helmet, go to Green Gridiron Green, Mr. Helmet. Just click the link in the show notes and go get yourself a helmet. You can do a custom helmet. You can do your favorite team helmet. You can get it with a visor. You can get it without a visor. If you get it without a visor, you're not my friend. Get it with a visor. Pay the assembly fee. Get that thing shipped to your house. Excuse me. And as our guest said, this is brought to you by BW Tax. BW Tax, great guy, better at taxes. Trey, you want to bring this thing down for a landing?
Trey.
That's you, Jeff.
Oh, hey. Appreciate y'all listening to episode 103.
Well, it's literally on the top of the screen.
It doesn't appear on our.
Okay, Trey. Okay.
103 of the OK podcast.
Okay.
Auburn. Wait.
Auburn.
Okay. Again, appreciate you listening. If you're wanting to get in on more OK podcast / Strength Coach stuff, go ahead. Click the link below. You'll see for the Slack, use code OK to get you a little discount there. We've got a bunch of stuff going on in there. We're talking sports. We're talking Trey's perfect bracket in the sports section. Perfect bracket. So far, so good. Going into the final four. There's lifting.
Till I headbutt them.
If you got videos of you lifting, you want to get them form checked, we've got strength coaches in there that can check them out and give you some feedback on your lifts. Other than that, go give us a subscribe on YouTube, right? We love seeing that. Follow us or subscribe to us through Apple, Spotify, wherever you get your podcast sent to you. We'd love to have you leave us a review on there as well. Let us know how we're doing. We always like that. And then if you want to just check out the rest of our social media, go to www.theokpodcast.com.
Okay.
There's links there for all the social medias for the podcast. And then if you're interested in our individual social media as well, you can reach out to us and we'll get in touch there. We might be a little busy with all our posting and being live and stuff like that, but we'll get to it when we can.
Live on X right now.
We are live on X. How many people we got tuning in?
Oh yeah, let me check. Let me see here. Check the old. Let's see here. Okay, podcast. Marco Rubio has to be everyone these days. So it pops up. Let's see. We got one person.
Wow.
Me.
There we go. Hey, we appreciate all of our live viewers.
But we've had 17 check in and out.
Okay.
So
okay.
There's that.
Okay.
Okay. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you next time.